Hallo, wir sind bei Projektakustik. Es ist Sonntagmorgen 5 Uhr und wir haben heute was ganz Großes vor. Ich habe gerade Dimitri abgeholt, das ist der Mann hinter der Kamera, der mich hier gerade filmt, und wir wollen heute zu Linn fahren, nach Glasgow. Ich freue mich riesig mit meinem Kunden dorthin. Ich weiß, nur sehr früh, aber jetzt ist Aufstehen angesagt und ab geht's zum Flughafen. Viel Spaß, ich freue mich, dass ihr dabei seid. So, jetzt sind wir hier am Hamburger Flughafen und jetzt müssen wir gleich noch unsere Kunden einsammeln. Und dann geht es auch in den Flieger mit kurzem Zwischenstopp in Amsterdam und dann geht es dann weiter nach Glasgow und wir werden uns immer mal wieder zwischendurch melden. Ich freue mich, dass ihr dabei seid. Bis gleich. So, wir starten jetzt hier gerade in Amsterdam. Wir gehen die letzte Etappe auf nach Glasgow. Wir sind also in 1,5 Stunden da und freuen uns riesig drauf, endlich in Schottland zu sein und ein bisschen die Highlands anzugucken. Bis nachher.
Douglas Fir. This is very traditional in the whisky industry.
Drink our whiskey and got absolutely back. They get absolutely back. Fly back to hills, throw the most amazing party you can imagine, and go to sleep. And the next morning they are weak, absolutely destroyed, telling walking over, crying. Those tears is the rain that falls in Scotland. That's why I take much.
So, nach einigen Problemen, so wie mit der Anweise bei den Pflanzen und so, sind wir hier bei Glengoyne Destillerie Destillerie angucken. Neben mir steht ein langen Bild steht Fabriktour, der uns hier begleitet heute. Wir freuen uns sehr. Morgen geht's zu Linn. Sind schon alle ganz gespannt und haben hier eine schöne Stunde, haben uns hier die Distille angeguckt. Ja, und wir sehen uns dann bald wieder. Ich freue mich. Bis dann.
Heute neuer Tag, neuer Morgen. Wir stehen jetzt hier vor der Linn-Fabrik. Wir haben bei typisch schottischem Wetter. Freuen wir uns jetzt riesig, mit unseren Kunden einmal reinzugehen, ins Linn anzugucken. Und wenn ihr Lust habt, kommt mit. Heute gibt es wirklich viele spannende Sachen zu sehen. Ich freue mich. Auf geht's.
Ivor Tiefenbrunn married the second love of his life, his wife, whose name is Evelyn. Thank you. Ivor has two loves in his life: music and Evelyn. So he managed to convince his wife that they should spend all of their wedding money on a brand new hi-fi system. So what an amazing wife, right? All the money they got from their wedding, so they were going to spend that on a brand new hi-fi system for their new house to start their life together. So music had always been a big deal for Ivor and his family growing up. His father was a big music fan and there was always music in their house. So music, a really important fact. So with the wedding money, Ivor went down to his local hi-fi retailer. I still don't know who the retailer is. Do you? You won't? No, won't tell us who it is. Went with some money and said I'd like a turntable, I would like some speakers, and I would like a power amplifier. So he bought some really good stuff, brought it home, set it all up, put the needle on the record, played his favourite record, and he was just doesn't sound quite right. It just didn't quite sound as good as it did on his father's system. So Next day, packed everything back up again, back down to the shop, spoke to the retailer and said, this just doesn't sound right. And the retailer said,
you need bigger loudspeakers.
Bigger loudspeakers. Excellent. So, Ivor buys bigger loudspeakers, carries them like this back home, sets them up in his living room, and it's a bit better, but just not quite good enough. So he's just not feeling the same feeling. You know, we all know the feeling you get from music. Just doesn't sound as good as he knows it does. So, okay, let's go back. Pack everything up, back to the shop. Still not happy with this. What do you recommend? And the retailer says,
You need a bigger amplifier. We don't usually do this. It's not usual.
I just thought this. So, Ivor then decides to pack everything up, back to the house, sets everything up again, and once again there is a slight improvement, but just not quite good enough. So, back to the shop for a third time. It's still not, it just doesn't sound the way I know it's meant to sound. And unfortunately, the retailer said, you have the best system possible, you cannot upgrade anymore. So Ivor's just scratching his head. So back to the house, and he makes a decision that he's going to take his turntable and move it outside. So he takes it out of his listening room, runs cables all around the house. Evelyn, how great is Evelyn? She allows him to do this. Moves the turntable outside, puts the record on, all of a sudden, amazing, brilliant sound. Sounds exactly like he expected. So he realised that by moving the turntable away from the rest of the system, he's eliminating acoustic feedback. So he then realised that not only is acoustic feedback a massive factor in sound quality, it's also the idea that source is the most important part. Okay, so source first. Obviously, if you own a Linn product, you may have heard source first before. So he then has an idea to build his own turntable at his father's factory in Castlemilk, which is just 5 minutes from here. Builds his first turntable, the Sonic LP12, which I think a couple of people have an LP12. There's a very, very old LP12 in the Linn home, and I'm sure you saw it when you came in.
I'm sure that.
He builds the LP12. He's convinced it's the best turntable in the world. Packs it in his car, drives around the UK, visiting retailers. Would you like to hear my turntable? And they're like, okay. Before you know it, he's got more orders than he can make. So he then decides to found Linn, builds a factory. Well, he basically was working out of the previous factory. The previous factory was at Castlemilk, right? Yep. And then in 1985, work began on this building here. So this was designed by Lord Richard Rogers, who designed the Pompidou Centre and the Millennium Dome. And the people basically, so the factory was created 85, 86, people started to move in. It was extended about 10 years ago, I think. Is that right? Yeah. Where we built this area here that you're in today, and also some office space. And the factory continues to basically evolve from the inside. So eventually we may run out of space, but for now we've got a nice working setup. We're going to begin in metalwork, so follow me, please. Welcome to metalwork. This is where it all begins. As you can see, we have some sheets of aluminium. So aluminium is a great metal to work with because not only is it strong, but it's also bendable, I guess.
Flexible.
Flexible is a great word. Yeah, that's the word. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. So as you can see here, we start with different different depths of sheets of aluminium. And we also have some sheets of steel here. So occasionally we will use steel if we want to improve the durability of a product, maybe for screws or something like that. Because as we know with aluminium, even though it's strong, sometimes if you screw something into it, it needs a little bit more reinforcement. So basically everything begins here at the metalwork phase. This is a punch. So punch does what you would imagine. A piece of aluminium is taken from here, carried in, raised up, and we now are able to make different shapes of metal. So this is really against to start with a flat piece of aluminium, bring it here, and it's punched and made into different shapes. So we can make countless different sizes, countless different shapes here. So Nicola's using the folding machine to bend the aluminium into a shape like this. Imagine a magnet, okay? So you have your positive and your negative. If you have a magnet, they will go like that. Positive and negative subtract. So we use powder paint. These are positively charged, and as it passes through this machine, it's applied, it's a robot arm will spray the paint on, and it's negatively charged. So the paint will stick to the metal, and it passes through the oven at 180 degrees. Building select today, so this is the base of a select. So as you can see the lettering. So it's a very simple screen printing process. It's applied and pressed down into the product.
This is maybe the only part of Linn you'll see as a production process. You'll see it like a line. We'll go from the start to the finish.
So Klimax DSM is made here.
We make the placard in two parts for kind of obvious reasons. Everything about an LP12 and Linn is eliminating resonance, eliminating distortion. So if we built it in two parts like this, it kind of clangs. And you slot it together, you don't get that kind of resonance, that clang. So everything here is built with that in mind.
breakthrough design, three-dimensional ply. It's a continuous curve, so it goes all the way around and tapers at the back. There's no straight edge on the front of it. It's for dispersion. The whole role that the cabinets play, matched with the trim pieces, which also form an arc across the front of the speaker. Everything's very, very smooth across the front in a curve, and we wanted it this way just for dispersion. For Scottish people my age, this record is like a benchmark for Scottish music.
Spannende Tage liegen hinter uns. Wir sind jetzt zurück von Linn. Ich habe gerade die letzten Kunden abgesetzt. Wir haben spannende neue Dinge gesehen in der Fabrik, auch wie sie sich immer verändert. Ja, ich kann nur sagen, es hat sich gelohnt. Wir werden es auf jeden Fall wieder machen. Vielleicht hast auch du Lust, nächstes Mal mitzukommen. Wir freuen uns auf jeden Fall drauf. Hat uns Spaß gemacht. Ich hoffe, du hattest Spaß, uns auf der Reise zu begleiten. Und ich sage einfach bis zum nächsten Mal. Und ja, gerne unseren Kanal abonnieren. Wir freuen uns und bis bald.